Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Live in the Classroom. Today we are at Clear Lake High School in Miss Allen's 10th grade honors English class. Thanks so much for having us today. We're excited to be here. We've actually been in your class before. We've seen a couple different things. Tell us what we're learning about today.
So today we are focusing on structure in poetry. We're launching into this new poetry unit and find that looking at structure is something that students really struggle with, but it is a really important component to understanding and unlocking meaning. The other thing that we've been working on is ways in which to talk about poetry that feel very open and kind of make the kids more comfortable in talking about poetry, because a lot of times kids shy away from wanting to suggest what the poem might be about just in case they're wrong. And so giving them the tools that they need to have those academic conversations and feel more confident when talking about poetry. So a lot of what you're going to see today is also some discussion and kind of ways that protocols that we're practicing with discussion. I will say we normally would start class with a 10-minute read. That's part of our curriculum, is the students choose what they're reading. They would start with that 10-minute read, and whatever we're working on in class, they would be looking for that in their choice book, and then we would flow into the lesson. But today we're just going to kind of start with the lesson.
All right, well, we can go ahead and get started then.
Okay, sounds good. All right, guys, so when you walked in, you picked up this little strip of paper that says, "We Real Cool." Everybody got that? Yes? Okay. So just to kind of remember what we were talking about yesterday and sort of get us oriented, we were talking about structure and how important it is that we're thinking about structure within poetry and not just the fancy bells and whistles, right? The easy things like imagery, similes, metaphors, stuff like that, right? We need to think about how did the author choose to organize it, or what is the framework that's beneath that beautiful architecture. And the reason why we're focusing on this is because in this unit, you guys are going to be writing a poem, and you're going to need to explain how did you structure it? What were the choices that you made, and why did you make those choices? We also created this anchor chart that we filled in, and today we're going to add something new to the vocabulary section. But what were some of the questions that we put down here that we ask ourselves? Can somebody give me a question that we were thinking about? Sophia? How does form create meaning? Go for it.
How did the author do blank like this?
Why did the author do fill in the blank like this? Okay, so those are some of the questions that we need to be thinking about, and later when you're discussing the poem at your table, be using that as a framework for discussion, okay? All right, so I need each table to send up one person to me, and I'm going to give you some materials. So can you each send one person up to me, each table? You're going to grab one marker and one piece of poster paper. Okay, so what you're going to do is you're going to take this poem. This is a real poem by Gwendolyn Brooks. And you're going to separate the lines and the stanzas where you think the lines and the stanzas would be. So you're going to group it out and rewrite it on that poster paper. One person can be the scribe. How do you think this should be separated? Because I took the original poem and I smushed it all together. So I want you to look at it as a group, figure out how would you separate it into lines and stanzas, work together, and then at the end we're going to come up here and each group's going to share under the dot cam. Okay? Ready? Mark, get set, go. I'm going to set a timer up here.
Oh, I think the jury guys go. And then use its own little thing.
Mm-hmm.
I think like the last word of like everything. Oh yeah, so you have to have an emphasis because
Oh, okay. So restart.
Oh, okay. I like that idea.
Okay, all right. Restart.
Do you need a new? Oh, you got it.
We already
Okay.
got one.
Okay.
Wait, are we okay? Okay, instead of doing vertical, yeah, let's do it like this. Okay. The pool player.
Why don't you mark it with your pencil where you, and then that way you can kind of give him the how it would wrap around. I think that looks good. You have it bracketed, so now somebody just needs to write it out.
Yeah.
You're not done yet? Oh, okay. Just use the green. What did you think, sir? You guys already got it?
Yeah, we're thinking all the ones that rhyme together, different stamps.
Okay. So they're like couplets, where they would go into rhyming couplets.
But we sing.
We sing what, like a revised version of this on the
Correct. Yeah. So you're gonna write it down. Bufo, can you hold up? Just show them the visual. See how they're rewriting it into how they think it would be clumped together. So whoever has clear handwriting, just scribe it down. Right? How would you clump it together? Oh, yes, I will reveal it, yes. That's the fun part. That's why I asked you guys the other day if you'd worked with this poem before, because I needed there to be the surprise, the element of surprise. Oh, I have not seen that yet today. That's a cool way to do it. So nominate who's going to come put it under the dot cam for me. Nominate who's going to put it under the dot cam for me. Okay. Who's going to come put it under the dot cam for me? Nominate who's going to come put it under the dot cam for me. Okay. Keep going, Jackson. Okay, so we got one more minute, and then you're going to send one person from your table up here to put it under the dot cam for us. Do not open until later. Okay. Do not open until later. Do not open until later. Oh. Do not open until later. Do not open until later. Okay. All right, you ready, Bufo? Okay. All right, we're going to start with Bufo's going to come on up here and showcase for us. Come on down. Go ahead and put it under there and show us how you organized it other way.
All right, so my group organized it with like each rhyme we separated with a stanza.
So can you read it for us?
The pool players, 7 at the golden shovel. We real cool, we left school. We lurk late, we strike straight. We sing sin, we thin gin. We jazz June, we die soon.
Thank you. Awesome. Okay. Next. Somebody from your table. Yes, thank you. Good job. You're leaving me hanging. Perfect. Come on over.
Okay. So do you want me to tell me what we did?
Sure.
Okay, well, we separated it kind of by rhyme, but we wanted to emphasize this one and we wanted to emphasize this one, so we did them together.
So the we die soon and the we real cool. Cool.
Do I also need to read it?
Cool. No, you're good. Okay, next. Next, Maddie.
Did I read it?
Sure, if you want to.
Okay, sure.
Okay, the pool players 7 at the Golden Shovel. We real cool. We left school. We lurk late. We strike straight. We sign sin. We get gin. We thin gin. We jazz June. We die soon.
So they did a really interesting how they made it kind of this narrow column and then really emphasize the words that are being rhymed. Excellent. Super cool. Okay, who do we have? We've got this table and that table. You guys want to go? You got this?
So we kind of, let me see. So we put it by rhyme, and I don't know, we was writing too big, so we couldn't separate the stanzas, but it's cool. I gotta read it.
So would you have separated it? Were you guys planning on separating each line into a different stanza? You weren't planning on having one big chunk.
No,
Okay.
definitely not.
But you did put these on the same row,
Yeah, we put
the same
rhymes
line.
on the same line.
Okay.
I gotta read it or no?
You don't have to if you don't want to. Okay, cool. And then last group. You got this.
We just organized it by, like, it's free, and then it's rhyme, and then the rest is, like, rhyme, how it's like a rhyme scheme. So we just put, like, we real cool, we left school, we lurk late, we strike straight, we sin, we sing, sin, we're thin gin, and then we jazz June, we die soon at the end.
Excellent. So it looks like you guys and this table, you guys did very similar, right? You would have separated it that way too. Yeah? Okay, awesome. Thank you. Good job. Okay, now, you ready for the reveal? We got all the tables, right? Okay, so in the green envelope, now let's look and see what the original was. Open it up. Take them out, and you're going to tape them in your notebook. So this is the original. This is the original. Now I want to play the audio for you of what the author, what it sounds like when this is read. Okay? So I know you're taping, but use your listening ears.
We real cool, the pool players, 7 at the Golden Shovel. We real cool, we left school, we lurk late, we strike straight, we sing thin, we thin gin, we jazz do, we die soon.
Okay, and then one more time with Morgan Freeman's voice, because it's cool.
We real cool. The pool players, 7 at the Golden Shovel. We real cool. We left school. We lurk late. We strike straight. We sing sin. We thin gin. We jazz June. We die soon.
He ate it up. Okay, so talk at your table. What do you notice is emphasized in this original version of the poem? So why? Why do you feel like she would emphasize we? Talk to me about that emotion.
I'd say maybe like they're trying to like give out like a specific tone like in the poem.
Okay.
I don't know how to like say it. It emphasized we.
And what do you think that's important? How does she set the scene at the beginning here?
Like the pool players.
So it's like a pack of people.
And then when they say 7 at the Golden Shovel, the Golden Shovel is probably a place.
So over in Rio, they kind of already guessed it, actually the backstory of this poem. So Gwendolyn Brooks was walking and she saw this pool hall and the door was open, and as she looked into the pool hall, she saw this pack of young men, and they were all just kind of hanging out there in the middle of the day, and that was the inspiration for this poem. And I think that's really important. Why probably she put it at the beginning of the poem is because that's going to have something to do with this emphasis of we. And we'll get back to that here in a second. But we're looking at structure in order to help us understand meaning. And we're going to add a new technique to our anchor chart, a big fancy word here in a minute, because that we hanging out there by itself, that is an actual technique. Okay? And then we're also going to practice our protocol for having a productive discussion about poetry where, remember, we're not going to sit there and try to figure it out. We're going to sit there and be curious, right, about ways that the author put it together. So the word that you're going to add to your anchor chart is called enjambment. Enjambment. And it's that we hanging out at the end where she starts the line before she moves on. That's called enjambment. So you're going to add that to your anchor chart of vocabulary. And I'm going to show you more examples of what enjambment looks like. Yes, it's a very fancy French word. If we were in France, it'd be enjambment. But enjambment. So enjambment, the term enjambment, the French word jambe is leg. So it's this idea of kind of stepping into the next line ahead of time, stepping over, right? She stepped over and took the second part of the we, blah, blah, blah. She moved it down, right? And then kept we at the end of each line for emphasis, okay? And thinking about line breaks, the difference between poetry and prose and poetry is often where we put line breaks, isn't it? It's how creative we get with breaking sentences apart and organizing them and separating them, okay? And in poetry, enjambment creates anticipation. So you had that we, right? And then they move into action. We, and then it moves into action, okay? So here's some other examples of this. You've got the scent of hyacinths, like a pale mist, lies between me and my book, right? Moving the between me and my book down creates emphasis, changes up the rhythm. Shakespeare's really famous for using enjambment because when you're trying to write sonnets in iambic pentameter and you need to make sure everything fits in a rhythm, you just scoot it down, and that's how you keep going with that rhythm. So you've got this sonnet 116, let me not to the marriage of true minds admit impediments. Love is not love which alters when it alteration finds, right? So it puts a new emphasis on middle parts of sentences where if we were writing in prose, we might not have the same emphasis, okay? All right, so let's think about this for a second using our protocol. So remember, in our protocol, the first thing we do is we read the poem and we just circle things that stand out to us, whether that's words. We kind of already noticed all the we's, but we're just going to go around and each person at the table is going to say what's one thing that stands out to them. No explanation. You don't have to explain the meaning of the poem. Just circle one thing and then share at your table. I circled this, okay? So read the original and then share at your table what you've circled. Where's the original? You have this one? There you go.
All right, that wraps up our Facebook Live here at Clear Lake High School. Thanks for watching. We'll see you guys next time.